give this a try? Let's see.
Should I mute or still mute or no?
No, well, we're not started yet. We're just gonna practice this song, right? Oh, we gotta hear it. When it comes on, while we're waiting. All right.
Oh, I'm setting up my computer.
Oh, okay. Looks like you're all good to go. So, I'm gonna try to. Ready? I haven't started yet. We're just gonna go through this.
Yeah.
All right. Just like it's on video.
I'm a Dr. Brad in school of that, a dissertation. I don't know, something about the media. That was about media literacy. My advisor is watching, so say good things about me.
Mike? Yeah. Okay. I'm a college I teach writing and do other stuff. Talk to people about digital literacy. But my early college program means the most to me. I will talk about it like it's church and he'll take us to the deeper theme. So he's going to set us straight.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is on?
Yeah.
It
All
is
right.
on?
Welcome to the YouTube guide. The YouTube guide. Welcome to the YouTube culture. The YouTube culture. I'm out of here.
All right. Sorry, everyone. We just did a little bit of practicing of a parody here. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our first webinar of 2017. Hey. Okay. So today we're gathering together online to talk about this very interesting and important topic. What is it? As we said, YouTube culture. So is it a YouTube culture or is it a YouTube cult? So that for us to discuss tonight. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce myself. I am a PhD student in the joint education program like URI and Rick here in Rhode Island. I'm a member of the Media Education Lab, and the Media Education Lab is very dedicated in educating people with media literacy. As a tradition, we do this webinar by introducing ourselves. So I did my part. So how about we go around the table and see who's on the table, okay? Okay, who's gonna go first?
I'll introduce myself. I'm Renee Hobbs. I'm a professor of communication studies and director of the Media Education Lab.
I'm Frank Romanelli.
Okay,
I'm part of the Media Education Lab. I'm a professor at the University of Rhode Island, writing and rhetoric. And I'm going to help Zoe out with this tonight.
Okay, great. Who wants to be next? Mike?
I'm Mike Ryan. I teach in the URI Multimedia Certificate Program and a bunch of other places too. And I think I haven't done a whole lot of these, so I'm eager to see how it goes.
Okay, great. So I see also Sarah's here. Okay, Yang, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Yanti Friesen. I'm assistant professor at Central Connecticut State University and the associate director of the Media Education Lab. Very excited about our first webinar in the series of other webinars that we're going to do. And also welcome everybody to come in like 3 weeks to.
That's suspenseful.
Our Mediation Lab is sponsoring at Central Connecticut State University that Zoe and Frank and Renee are gonna, and you'll have link on our website.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Who wants to go next? Sarah, still, I don't see you. What about Aaron? Amanda? Who else?
Mike?
Mike went.
Introduce yourself, Mike.
I'm still Mike. I'm I teach in the URI Multimedia Certificate Program and at RISD.
We're really glad. And Pedro, we're trying to hear you. Can you test your microphone? We'll see if we can hear you.
Pedro, can you hear yourself? Can you hear us?
Oh, we seem to be troubling with Pedro's microphone, but oh well.
Okay. So, how? Is there any other people want to introduce themselves? If not, then how about we start right now? Okay. All right. I'm gonna share my screen. Here. Once again. What do you guys see? Do you guys see my screen?
Yep.
The slides? Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna stop sharing it. There's a little bit of situation happening. Yeah, okay.
You just say next slide. Okay, we have like a slight technical difficulty, but I'm going to try to share my slides, and we'll see if that works.
Yeah, Renee's going to share this screen.
Zoe, can you see them now?
Yes, I can. Yes,
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. So, okay, so today we have basically, in addition to me, there's another presenter that is Frank Ramanelli. Great. And how about Frank? Have you introduced yourself yet?
I have Zoe. Yep, I mentioned that I work at URI. I'm a Writing and Rhetoric faculty member, and I'm part of the Media Education Lab.
Yeah. Okay, great. And what we're going to do today is basically three things. First, we're going to watch a video, a very interesting video created by a YouTuber, and it's called YouTube Culture. And second, we're just gonna run through it and see what he's saying, what he's talking about. And then we're gonna dig a little deeper to look into some of the phenomenons and issues, or maybe some problems that are happening around YouTube culture. Okay, and then we would like to hear what you think. Okay, so without further ado, let's watch this video. Okay, Renee, can you do that?
Good.
Okay. Here is an annotation tool that we use to watch the video and also commentating this video. Okay.
I'm a famous clown in a flower crown. My friends are dictated by similar subscriber counts. My channel takes you through my bedroom routine. It's just between you and me and 100,000 other tweens. Don't care for money, don't care about the fame. I'm just collabing with my friends, though I only know their screen names. After 5 minutes a week, you think you know me offline. I exploit fandoms for a bottom line. I conjure fame with challenge bids, and I play drinking games to target kids. And I hope Lucifer will sell me a selfie stick in hell. Welcome, welcome to the YouTube culture, the YouTube culture.
Hey guys, I'm on tour.
So tug on mommy's hair. A few $100, you can meet and greet a millionaire.
Hopping down to town on my first class flight.
But you gotta pay for when you bought my book I didn't write. YouTubers had morals back in 2011. More virgins were at VidCon than Al-Qaeda heaven. Now we're snorting lines of cinnamon. Copycat, cashing in quality to quantity. It's too late to Kardashian. I idolize your idol eyes, and monetizing, kissing guys, and I won't come out the closet till I've got something to sell about it. Woo! Welcome, welcome to my YouTube lifestyle, YouTube life. Welcome, welcome to the YouTube culture, the YouTube cult. There's a mystery to be at the top. People think I'm divine. Oh, but the truth is, we're not heroes. We just play some online. 5, 6, 7.
I'm like Hercules.
With a slightly slimmer bod, because yeah, I'm just a normal guy, but also I'm a god. So I didn't write the book.
Jesus didn't write the Bible.
I spread my message through the world with 12 disciples.
I got more slave followers than Moses at the Red Sea.
Purchased my biography, despite the back in 2013.
So,
Love me!
And I love you more, because I love the way you love me. My church is a merch store. I'm privileged, white, and rich, and male, and you are not. To worship at my YouTube sale. I put the I in defy, and suddenly you deify me. Welcome, welcome to the YouTube sensation, the YouTube sin. Welcome, welcome to my YouTube lifestyle, YouTube life. Welcome, welcome now. Welcome, welcome now. Welcome, welcome. I said, welcome to the YouTube cult. Cheers! Oh, that's good. That's good.
Subscribe!
Hey, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who came to my ugly room and shot this video. So, guys, what are your channels? So click on their face if you want to see any of that. All right, bye. Bye. Subscribe. Anything I can do, YouTube does better.
Okay. Right, this is a video that created by this YouTuber named John Cozart, aka Paint on YouTube. So this video might be quick. What we do is we're gonna let you through and see who this person is and what he's talking about. Okay. Great. Can we see the John Cozart slides, please?
Yep, I'm trying. There we go.
Right. So this is John Cozart, and he is a kind of famous YouTuber. His channel's name is Paint. So most people know him from YouTube as Paint. He started his channel in 2010, and now he's become famous and goes on tours, and he has 3 million something subscribers on his first channel, and he started his second channel, which called Paint Chips. in 2014. So this is brief kind of information about the person. So let's go through his lyrics and see what he's really talking about. Okay. So he said. So he started with a famous clown in a flower crown. So he started to, he definitely know how to tell a story. He tells about himself. Started his monologue, right? That identification is two things. One is he's famous, and also he's a clown. So he is pretty famous on YouTube, has 3 million subscribers. But also he uses satire, says I'm just a clown, because he creates funny videos like parodies or music videos, which entertains people, and it's also a genre. With this funny videos is also a genre that gets more views on YouTube, right? Okay. And what about a flower crown? I guess the flower crown says about the demographic of his viewers. So it is a social media kind of phenomenon. It's kind of started with Snapchat flower crown filter, and all of a sudden it's is popular all around social media. So it says about young people are most likely his viewers, right? And my friends are dictated by similar subscriber counts. So YouTube has this feature that, if you watch certain videos, most of the time, they will put you, in default, similar YouTubers will show up on your screen. And those YouTubers often collab with each other and make more videos. And then he said, my channel takes you through my bedroom routine. So this is kind of a ritual on YouTube. YouTubers started filming videos in their bedrooms. It kind of creates this intimacy between the person who is in front of the camera and people who are viewing it. So this relationship between YouTubers and viewers is very intimate. And also says it's just between you and me. So it seems very intimate, but it is not. It's virtually intimate because there are another 1,000 other viewers are viewing this, right? And he goes on, don't care for money, don't care about the fame. So most of the YouTubers started, without thinking about if there's money involved or if there's fame involved. But as YouTube grow, those elements comes in play. And I'm just collabing with my friends. So this is another retro in YouTube. YouTubers collab with their, similar YouTubers. And though I only know their screen names, so most people are known by their screen names on YouTube. And it goes on. After 5 minutes a week, you know me offline, because most YouTubers upload videos on a weekly basis, and it's only about 5-6 minutes, and that's the length that it gets most popular views, right? And continue this intimate relationship between YouTubers and viewers. So you think you know me, but you are not. You don't know me, because I only present 5 minutes of my life a week to you. And so this is the bottom. So he calls this a bottom line of making YouTube videos. And then he goes on and conjure fame with challenge vids. So as some of you might know, the challenge videos are the most popular videos on YouTube. So of course, and YouTube fame are related to, views, right? And okay, I'm not go too detailed. I don't think we have time. And then it goes on, play games to target, kids. There are just type of videos that are most funny, but you don't know what they're doing. It's most crazy videos on YouTube. And then he goes, I hope Lucifer will sell me a selfie stick in hell. He already knows that he is going to hell. Okay, I'm just gonna go really briefly, just point out some of the, things that I want to point out. For example, on the verse 2nd, he says, "Oh guys, I'm on tour, so tug on mommy's hair. If she pays you $200 you can meet and greet a So now those famous YouTubers are going on tour and meet and greet with their fans. And also, YouTube has developed this, annual conventions called VidCon. So if they have different passes, for example, they have red pass, they have yellow pass, and they have purple pass. So, for example, if you pay $100, you'll get a red pass, and you'll be just. And if you pay $200, get a yellow pass, you will be, you will be having, you will be friends with YouTubers, and then you can pay more, meet and greet with your fans. So the next one, he's popping town to town in my first class flight, which you kind of pay for it when you bought the book I didn't write. So YouTube to real life book publishing is very popular, has been very popular. So in 2005, the top bestseller books are all written by YouTubers. Although there are scandals about YouTubers didn't write their book, they have ghostwriters to write their books. And we go on. YouTube had morals back in 2011. There has been a discussion, about VidCon. So the VidCon started in 2010, and back then YouTube doesn't have this money or scandals going on. So it was more of an innocent time. And then now he goes on. See what we're doing right now. We are snoring lines of cinnamon, copycat caching. So if you don't know, the cinnamon challenge is one of the most viewed videos on YouTube. YouTubers are doing a cinnamon challenge on YouTube, all across YouTube. And people just do the same challenge on their channels, and there have been dangerous, consequences that happened. And he goes on. So it compares with the quality of YouTube videos on YouTube and the quantity. And he says about Cooper to Kardashian, and he also incorporates terms in popular culture. And he goes on, I idolize your idol eyes and monetizing kissing guys, and I won't come out of the closet until I got something to sell about. So it kind of leads us into this kind of YouTube world that are very monetized. Going on to the third verse, we began to see more of a deeper analogy. He uses a lot of reference in the religions in the Bible. also shows very humorous. I'm like I'm like a god, but with a slightly slimmer bod. And I'm just a normal guy. If I'm a guy in the normal life, I'm just like, oh, skinny guy. But because I'm on YouTube, I'm also a god. Okay. And he goes on again about YouTubers publishing their books. They have their biography by the fact that they're only 23. How many is happening in their lives, right? And then he goes on. His church is a merch store, and he goes on more kind of controversial terms, saying that he is a privileged, white, and rich and male. But the YouTube kind of environment and this kind of fame deified him as a god. Okay, and then he goes on. He says, "YouTube sensation is actually a sin." So I'm just pointing out some of the YouTube phenomena that are happening. For those of you might not know some of the social media, phenomena. After that, I'm gonna summarize and talk about 3 to 4 themes that his song has expressed. So the first of all, that is very focused on the intimacy and belonging. So YouTube has this feature that it provides easy entry and free platforms. This type of lower entry that has provided this platform for YouTubers to create this virtual intimacy between the YouTubers and the viewers. And it also creates this social network for young people to connect with each other. And through connecting, they kind of find, you can identify themselves online with people that is in million miles away, right? So they got this connection, they get this intimate relationship with their favorite YouTubers, and they get this strong peer support through YouTube. That's where young people find a sense of belongings. Let me see this one. And the second theme I found is that he talks a lot about idolizing and deifying, right? So as we can see, this YouTube community, it really started with a grassroots community, and people started filming their videos, really didn't think about fame or money at the beginning. But as YouTube grows and more opportunity for profit, so the corporate power has intervened in this YouTube culture. From there, a hierarchy kind of developed among users. That's what we'll see. Some YouTubers has become celebrities, idols, or even gods, right? And also, as we talked about, the YouTube convention, which is called VidCon, started in 2010, and now it's been their 7th years. They create this kind of hierarchy by how well you were known or how much you pay for the pass. Right. And the third theme that I found is monetizing and merchandising. So now YouTube monetizes videos based on the views of videos. Famous YouTubers, they have, their certain, type of fan groups that are very support them and just kind of follow them everywhere, right? And YouTubers has begun to expand their fame through, books, products, and other merchandises like T-shirts, so that the viewers can buy those merchandise and feel a piece of their idol in themselves. So there we can also see a type of belonging in there. And the fourth theme that I also found is very interesting, because with all the cultural phenomenon has happened among YouTubers have realized those problems and have started to critically discuss about the YouTube culture. So we can see YouTubers talked about scary YouTube culture and what they don't like about the YouTube culture and what is very kind of problematic. Okay, now I have kind of basically with his song and summarized about some themes through this song, and we also can see some of the themes that are related to very kind of deeper topics in culture, which is religion. So I'm not a religion expert. I'm gonna pass this topic to my colleague Frank Ramanelli, and he is a very an expert in religion topics. So I'll let him to lead the discussion.
Before I do that, should we take some time to see if anyone wants to have a discussion about your report?
Okay.
Yeah, let's see if anyone has any comments on the John Cozart video and your interpretation of it.
Right.
So I wanted to kind of look at, do we think that he actually got paid to do that, as he's criticizing the own platform that he's being like the product of? So I'm wondering, so he's the author, but looking at YouTube, who's now changing their model and financing those YouTubers, and YouTube become its own kind of consortium of media and being a media provider, financing them. So it's like interesting to see, like we can see SNL criticizing NBC kind of as a way to say, oh, we're liberal kind of in a way. So I was wondering if we look at him criticizing the YouTube culture, but celebrating the YouTube culture and being financed by YouTube itself.
I think that's a very interesting question. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it is kind of this echo system of the YouTube culture right now. Do you agree? I think YouTubers. I mean, he is actually. I'm assuming he is actually getting money by creating this video. Look at how many views he's got on this video. And not necessarily he is paid to make this video, but he's definitely getting paid by making this video. Do I make sense?
Yeah, and it does suggest that there might even be an appetite for critical analysis of YouTube culture for this piece to be so cleverly done, use other famous YouTubers and be kind of self-reflective.
Right. Okay, any other comments, questions?
I think we're ready to hear your examination of YouTube cult in relation to religion, Frank? Take it
All
away.
right. I was staying out of that conversation because everywhere that I'm going to go in my mind now is so focused. I'm not really an expert in religion, but except that I went to Catholic schools and I live in Rhode Island. So, you know, and Zoe has taught me so much about YouTube culture. And when she showed me the John Kozart video, of course, as a musician and a performer, I was impressed with his talent. But what really impressed me was more as an educator and a thinker, the depth of his message and the nuance of his production. I think that really impressed me. I mean, like I wore the shirt tonight on purpose, you know, because I really wanted to celebrate that theme of nuance. Everything in that video, every time I watch it, and forgive me for being an English major, every time I watch it, I see something new. Everything seems to mean something, you know. So I'm gonna share my slideshow now, and kind of talk you through some slides while I bring you through the rest of my ideas. When I was looking at this idea, I started thinking about the elements of religion, you know, and as Zoe talked earlier about intimacy and ritual, and then she talked about belonging, idolizing, and deifying. Obviously, these are all terms that I put around religion. She used the word ritual several times. And I started looking at different people's lists of elements of religion. I found this one actually in a textbook on Boundless, that these seem to be the ones that kept coming up the most, these 7 elements of religion. And as I looked at them, I said, yeah, I can see all of that in this video. And I mean, Kozart doesn't hide it. He gets very obvious about it later on in the video. He certainly knows that he's parodying religion and that he represents something like religion. So I started thinking about this. I found this book, which I've absolutely loved. And a lot of what I'm going to share with you comes from my reading of this book, The Altars We Worship. What I really loved was this quote from William James, if I can get you out of the way. And it says, we must therefore from the experiential view call these godless and quasi-godless creeds religions. I just think that's really thought-provoking. And accordingly, when in our definition we speak of the individual relation to what she or he considers the divine, we must interpret the term divine very broadly as denoting any object that is godlike, where it be concrete deity or not. That provoked a lot more thought in me as I thought about growing up in the late 20th century and early 21st century, and you know, watching my younger parents and my aunts and uncles kind of celebrate the 60s and the dawning of the age of Aquarius, which a lot of people are talking about now, realizing that the definitions of religion, probably the way people talked about them in the past, even before my life, were changing. And I kind of was aware of that all through growing up, even to the point that of what I was taught in high school. And what I read in the text was the religions that we practice are not really the ones that we confess. And I was curious as to what he meant by that. So I started reading on, and I found some other authors that said some things like the way we substitute faiths for our memberships. You know, it's interesting because I'm in a racquetball league on Wednesday nights, and I recently said to someone, without thinking about this presentation, no, it can't be Wednesday night. Wednesday is my church. And that fits right into Mullen's idea here in The Painted Witch, that yes, and this was 1985 when this book was published. So this is not something that's new. I think we like to think of things around media literacy being things that all happened at once with some lightning bolt that happened sometime around 2005, 2006, you know, with Facebook and Google. But truth is that our culture has been developing in this direction. That's what I found as I started doing more and more reading. I started seeing the blending of traditional religion and ideologies happening, and I thought of these examples, and these are both books I've read. You know, the ideas of pop psychology and many lives and astrology, how they all fit into my definition of what it means to be a practicing Catholic. You know, and many people that I know, certainly not coming from the traditions of Catholicism in my case. And then this is what really struck me. depending on what calendar I look at, I'm either a late baby boomer or an early Generation Xer. Either way, I think we were the group of people most profoundly affected in the late 90s by the kind of epidemic of scandal that happened between sports, politics, and religion. And I think that, you know, and what's talked about in the Bedoin book is that once we were kind of tarnished by all of this, we also kind of lost any value for the mysticism. We lost blind trust. And this generation that has come after us is working on an assumption of not having blind trust. And yet they fall into this category where now they create their own church-like experience with all 7 of these elements. And they fall into a pattern of ritual, and they fall into ceremonies, and they have their sacred objects, their YouTube channels, their YouTube videos, their symbols, their sex. And this church that started off not being about making money, but about sharing creativity and ideas and having a voice, is now going into that money-making paradigm. Like, you know, I thought of Jesus in the temple, you know, in the stories in the New Testament that I learned about, and how every religion seems to go there at some point in its evolution. So those are the ideas that I wanted to share with you tonight and open up a discussion, and generally off of what Zoe said as well at this point, to see if that makes sense to you, if you disagree with any of that, if you'd like to add to any of that, maybe stuff you saw that I didn't pick up on. But I found this all to be very fascinating, and really saw that this is a culture that's going to, this is a generation that's going to celebrate this culture in very new, and yet very new ways, but yet with very old basic human needs. And that's always a fun thing for me to think about, how the old meets the new and where they come together. So I'll stop there.
Wow. Well, that gives us a lot to think about. Who wants to comment on Frank's ideas about YouTube culture as a religious practice?
I really like Frank said that it was the new meets the old. I think there's so many new aspects of cultural aspect happening on YouTube. This song wouldn't cover all of it, and our discussion wouldn't cover all of it. There's so much for us to discuss. And it's interesting how he, as a 20-something year old college student, can relate what's surrounding with him and the cultural kind of religious perspective into his creation. So
Zoe, did you get the feeling like John Cozart is maybe feeling a little bit guilty about his success?
I think he had some guilt in his thinking, saying he wrote in his song, he said YouTube sensation is actually a sin, right? So I absolutely think that he has. I'm not necessarily sure if he feels this kind of guilt, but I'm pretty sure that he has been very critically thinking about himself as a YouTuber and this environment that is changing.
Yeah. So then my question to everybody in the panel is, should John Cozart feel guilty or not? Should he feel guilty or not?
So I would the last sentence of Frank made me think about Marx and thinking in a protectionist kind of thing. So is YouTube the new opium for the masses? Are we looking at that as a way of Google, the big evil, to kind of make us not be critical about what Google is doing and give us our information just to be able to watch those things? So in that sense, he might feel guilty of doing that because he's contributing to that. But I have difficulties to believe that it's totally like the millennials or everybody's watching YouTube just from a stupidity, kind of being addicted and wanting to have like a sense of community. I think there is like a way of like searching, and I do see people maybe not the fully media literate as we say, but actually, I mean, trying to find information, trying to contributing, trying to find like other alternative ways of understanding information, processing information, in an entertainment, but also persuasion. So, I mean, it's actually was kind of alarming to look at what Frank was showing, like, ooh, because for me, like going to a religious ritual is always a blindfold kind of like following rules that have been written by somebody else. And so is that YouTube? So that's kind of, and I'm so much into YouTube looking for information, looking for things. So that was really frightening for me. And if really Jack Cusack is feeling like guilty, so that means, ooh, he's in the system, so I should be worried about it. So I'm kind of like confused and alarmed kind of now.
What fascinates me is, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I got more self-satire and self-awareness than I did guilt from his performance. I thought he was mostly poking fun at himself and everyone else around him, which doesn't make it any less of a... I'm curious, Frank, about the idea of ritual. Do people tend to like hit the same channels on a regular, recurring basis? Because I think a lot of ritual is repetitive and...
Zoe could probably answer that question better than me, but there seems to be a fan base syndrome that happens.
So the ritual is that, so you will notice that every YouTuber at the end of the video would say that, please make sure to hit likes and subscribe. So if you subscribe, you will, and if you click on the notification, you will get, you know, notification of, you know, the same YouTuber. I've seen people are like waiting for their favorite YouTuber to upload the video. If the favorite, you know, their favorite YouTuber upload a video an hour late, you know, it's a big problem. It will be a big discussion on other social media, for example, on Twitter. So what's going on? Why is there no videos? So yes, that is a ritual. Yeah, on YouTube.
And I totally agree with you, Mike, that the it's definitely self-awareness, and he is like revealing his own conflict. I think especially about, like, you know, the cinnamon challenge and quality to quantity. He's revealing his own, the tensions, the inner turmoil and tensions of being a creative person, right? He's definitely being like self-aware. But I wonder, to use such strong language like lie and sin, I mean, this is a metaphor that it's a powerful metaphor for him to choose, right? So
I think he's merciless in his, I think the connection to religion is all very intentional, even when, I mean, some of his satire is biting, like when he says, you know, what was it? The 12 apostles, and the girl pops in and says, "Year old." You know, that's powerful. That's a powerful statement of how they view the history of religion. And also something you said, Yanti, made me think, in the three major religions of the world, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, there's a pattern in which all of the leaders of those religions preach simplicity and humility, and every religion loses sight of that and has some kind of a self-awareness moment, whether it's Vatican II, whether it's Noah's Ark, whether it, you know, that where they have to kind of regroup and refocus and redefine what they mean. And that seems to be an ongoing pattern. And I think that self-awareness part is something maybe that's not an accident either. Maybe it goes out saying, hey, we need to do that too. Who are we? Who did we start out to be? Who are we now? Who do we want to be? I think this kid is just brilliant. I give him all the credit. I don't think anything in that video was an accident.
Wow. So Frank, are you saying that maybe you think he might be trying to influence his peers about the need to be more socially responsible with the celebrity power that some YouTubers have?
Well, I do, and you know, I often say as an educator that this generation that I teach now is the most concerned and empathetic generation I've ever taught. So he would be that. He would fit that description for me, and that maybe, you know, the people that you see in those videos, they're having fun and they're being who they are, and it's easy to criticize them because they seem so flippant and callous, but I don't really think there was anything flippant or callous about that video.
And I do think that we should keep in mind that with all the problems that we said about YouTube culture, YouTube is a participatory culture. Everyone has a YouTube channel now. No, regardless how many views or how many subscribers they have, everyone's watching YouTube, and some people upload their own videos on YouTube. And I do think they kind of, the level of engagement or the level of participation might have an impact on how they understand the YouTube culture and how they can critically look at it. I like that, Renee, you asked the question, and maybe John Kozar or other YouTubers, famous YouTubers who had made videos that discuss about YouTube culture might act like opinion leaders, in this culture, that might have impact on their 12 years old, disciples.
That's a great point. So maybe John Kozart is a thought leader among the latest generation of YouTube celebrities. He's showing some social consciousness. He's pulling back the curtain. It's a very media literate video in the way that he is revealing the economics and the values that underlie his choices. Like you said, Mike, it's very self-aware.
Can I just steer us towards something that Yanti had said earlier that struck me, is that something he said made me think that we have to remember that YouTube isn't all tweens. I use YouTube for education purposes. I discovered RSA Animates. TED Talks have become what they've become because of YouTube. We have all age groups and all walks of life, education probably the most powerfully, using YouTube. This is next generation television. That seems obvious to me. When REM wrote "Losing My Religion," they wrote that in the 80s. And they were talking about that phenomenon even then. But I think that now, it's so easy for us to talk about all of those negative things. But what Yanti said made me think, hey, you know what? I use YouTube, and some YouTube channels are designed for much older or much more intellectual, or even whatever it is. Like I know how to change the headlights on my car now. It's called YouTube.
Yeah. And I do think that the intimacy issue is a little bit of a nuance, because when you go to church and listen to the sermon, you're really aware it's a one-to-many broadcast. But when you're watching a YouTube video, you feel like you're in a one-to-one relationship with that person. And that's partly what makes John Kozart so lovable, right? Is that you're just right there with him and his friends, and you're part of the gang, right? That sense of belonging that Zoe was talking about.
Someday maybe, right? Yeah.
By the way, I love the comment you made, Zoe, about a good YouTube video is 5 minutes or less. Just because there again, growing up Catholic, the best priests were the ones with the shortest sermons.
And another question that left us to think about is, I think that most of us that are in this conversation are educators. And how do we do about, this kind of YouTube cult among our students, our younger generations?
Ooh, great question, Zoe. Zoe, could this video be shown in schools? Why or why not?
I think it definitely could, and it is a very good example to start a conversation to talk about, new media and media literacy, and the popular culture around us. Especially, I would think this video has the function of entertaining. Young people would love this form of videos, and it probably has their idols, John Cozart, and their stars, and some of your students probably maybe another YouTuber. So I think it's very a good example to show in class. The only problem is that some schools might ban YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It has teachers to decide, right?
So at this point, we would love to hear from Aaron, Sarah, Pedro, Mike. What's your thinking about, can this video, this John Cozart video, be shown for educational purposes in school, to have a conversation like we've had tonight about YouTube culture? Why or why not?
I'd vote yes. I don't think there's anything in there that's racier or more controversial than a lot of the classic literature that we teach in high school.
Right.
And it's a good way to get a conversation started about the medium.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if you played this and then asked students to identify their favorite YouTubers, if students could cluster them into categories or identify the different types of YouTubers. I wonder if they could compile a list and then categorize that list. I wonder. We're reflecting on the educational, in our last couple of minutes together. There's an educational value to using this particular music video in a classroom with high school students, perhaps, or college students. Jonathan, would you show it to your students? Why or why not?
I would, but are we talking about higher ed or school that sometimes are blocking YouTube? And so part of what I would do is I would show it in the beginning of the semester, analyzing and then asking them to maybe recreate and change and do an adaptation and explain to me and rationalize why they would change the stuff that they would change, and explain their interpretation of the video. What I feel that our discussion is so much media literacy and so much about asking the critical questions, because most of the teachers who are using YouTube, it's more instructional. They're just showing the video and that's how you do it, and not analyzing actually. And that's what we're talking about, to use that with our students so that they'll analyze it and learn from it and create their own messages reflecting on their own experience watching that video.
Yep, that's a great point. Okay, so I think we have reached the end of our time together. I want to thank Zoe and Frank Romanelli for leading the discussion of this session on YouTube cult. I'm really excited and thrilled that our colleagues from the University of Minho in Portugal have joined us. Pedro and Sarah, thank you for joining us. Also delighted that you, Aaron Wilkes, have come all the way from Australia to listen in on our conversation tonight. We are delighted to be part of a learning community together. So let's give a round of applause to Zoe and Frank who have contributed this evening. And if you want to see the YouTube video that we did annotate collaboratively, we put a link there to that video, and we welcome you to continue to annotate that video as you use it with your students. Okay, so thanks for spending an hour with us in this webinar. I'm Renee Hobbs, and we'll see you next time.
See you, Lazarus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.